According to all aerodynamic laws, the bumblebee cannot fly because its body weight is not in the right proportion to its wingspan. But ignoring these laws, the bee flies anyway.
If you are watching this World Cup and still calling Japan an underdog, you are watching a completely different tournament. This isn't a story about a team catching lightning in a bottle. This is a breakdown of how the Samurai Blue systematically dismantled the old footballing hierarchy to become the most terrifying, tactically ruthless machine in the world right now. If you think their multi-goal statement, wins are just temporary tournament hype, you are completely blind to the empire they have been building in the shadows. To understand how they got here, we have to look back at the absolute path of destruction they left behind before the tournament even kicked off. Japan no longer respects the traditional elite, they hunt them. For decades, the narrative surrounding Japanese football was always the same: beautiful, crisp technique, but ultimately fragile when up against the sheer physical power of Europe. That narrative is officially dead. Look at their run leading into this summer. They marched into Scotland and walked out with a cold-blooded 1-0 victory. 4 days later, they faced an England squad stacked with generational talent and completely suffocated them in another 1-0 shutout. 3 straight clean sheets against top-tier European nations. This wasn't a stroke of luck. It was a calculated declaration of war. Hajime Moriyasu hasn't just built a squad. He has engineered a fortress that absorbs world-class pressure and strikes back with absolute lethality. The old Japan had exactly one gear. This new team is a master of adaptation. Under Moriyasu, they have perfected a complex hybrid system that makes them impossible to prepare for. When they smell vulnerability, they deploy a suffocating high press that pins defenders deep inside their own box. The moment they take the lead, they transition seamlessly into an unbreakable low block. We saw this exact shift play out against the Netherlands. Facing a midfield overflowing with Champions League experience, Japan didn't flinch. They went toe-to-toe in a brutal tactical battle, disrupting the Dutch build-up so effectively that the opposition grew visibly frustrated, racking up multiple yellow cards just trying to survive the press. Japan doesn't wait for mistakes anymore. They actively force them. They are outrunning, outthinking, and completely outworking squads that cost 10 times as much to assemble. The ultimate proof of this evolution didn't come from a close tactical battle. It came from a total demolition. Their recent 4-0 routing of Tunisia wasn't just another group stage win. It was the moment they officially graduated to true tournament favorites, facing a side that had just brought in legendary defensive leadership specifically to stop them. Japan refused to let the game even settle. 4 minutes in, Daichi Kamada sliced the backline open to score. A typical dark horse would immediately drop back to protect a 1-0 lead. Instead, Japan pinned their opponents to the floor. Ayase Ueda turned international defenders into training cones to secure a brilliant brace, while Junya Ito finalized an absolute masterclass. It was a cold, systematic execution. They didn't just win. They stripped away the opponent's identity entirely. This sudden dominance isn't an accident. It is the result of a massive, decades-long cultural shift. The days of Japan relying on 1 or 2 isolated superstars are gone. The entire core of this roster has been deliberately embedded into the highest echelons of European football. They are starting every single weekend in the Premier League, La Liga, and the Bundesliga. They train against, play against, and conquer the exact same players they face on the international stage. The old psychological barrier has completely vanished. They don't look across the tunnel and see untouchable legends anymore. They see their next tactical problem to solve. The Samurai Blue are no longer content with being a beautiful story. They are here to take the throne.